Okay, remember they're changing my voice. In this video, I'd like to point out that I still care, and I'm trying to get women and everyone else to do the right thing. When I see these children, right, impressionable kids, they've been led astray. They're in the same spirit as this female who looks like assuming that's a female, not some kind of trinity. And she worships the devil or some Hollywood person. Her makeup, her exact way about her screams that, right? And we see these females here, these cheerleaders, Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, okay? And they've, in recent years, they've complained, well, not necessarily them, but some cheerleaders from the NFL, that they're being sexually abused and there's a code of silence and people are scared and so on and so forth. So they're like scared little girls. I look at their faces, look at their mannerisms, their movement, right? The frontal lobe, problem solving, emotional expression, sexual behaviors, movements, etc. Okay? And you see them here. Okay, these females. You see how they look like these little girls? Look at their faces carefully, the shape, the expression, what it suggests about, their frontal lobe, right? Emotional expression, the frontal lobe. Problem solving, emotional expression, sexual behavior. And they're being played out as like some kind of prostitutes or something, which is not doing them justice. Now here we see this thing you see where I look like a very sincere, very serious, very sharp person, very caring person. And I don't think it's a coincidence that I am. And I don't think it's a coincidence when we consider their profession and their absence of deep philosophical arguments. They're sum total of who they are when we study them, when we hear them in interviews, when we hear what they're saying, how they presented themselves to the public, and whether or not it's wise to present yourself as an idiot who upholds the New World Order to the public, that their way about them goes along with that. And we see many cases of this. Okay, and it also carries over to various cultures, right? Groupies from various cultures, rock and roll, rap, what have you. We see it again in the sororities, in the Greek societies. You see here, you see this guy who's taking advantage of him as part of, pan means all for all the Greco-Roman deities, pansexual, pandemic, panties, pancakes. There's all kinds of words we get from his name, and it's a long story why that is. It has to do with sugar. Sugar, juju, right? Witchcraft, Jews, Ra in Hebrew is evil. I mean, go on and on about why that is, Hollywood celebrities and the Kabbalah. We look at this, right? Again, they look like the cheerleaders do, okay? And these people aren't necessarily cheerleaders. They're sorority chicks. And we see here with Rush Week, right? It's a pervasive culture of people not being smart enough to consent. Now, is every female all throughout history like that? Well, let's look at this female here carefully. She looks a little bit more serious than them, right? She looks a little out of touch, from the world being crazy, kind of throwing her off. And she's responding that way, and that's what the picture suggests. We look at the rock and roll pictures and so on and so forth, okay? Now, I'm not concerned with racial implications, If this picture helps you understand that, I mean, I am concerned about it, but that's not the point of this video, okay? You see here, this female right here, she's black and she looks like that white chick next to her, and she's trying to emulate her with blonde hair and so on and so forth. Okay, so most people get this, right? But they don't truly appreciate the seriousness of the situation. It's one thing to say, oh, I'm running low on gas. And you say, well, there's not a gas station for, 20 miles. Oh, shit, what are we going to do, right? Kind of thing. So it's one thing to understand it. It's another thing to truly grasp the deeper implications, okay? So, again, there's a lot of people acting like this these days, these jocks, right? There's not a lot of people trying to get women to use their heads. And there's a bunch of people in cults and all kinds of groups trying to take advantage of them and make them prostitutes and get them to dress slutty and not use their heads and so on and so forth. Okay, now let's consider the timeline. The major reason I made this video was to get people to do the right thing. What little time is left before I die, and no one will be able to be right with God because of ill-gotten gains, Proverbs 1. Okay, it's the first thing about the Bible, so to speak, is revealed in the book of Proverbs, more than Genesis, really, where it says, such are the paths of those who go after ill-gotten gains. It takes away the life or the chance of eternal life, is more precisely, but the life, connecting with God and truly having life and so on and so forth, from all who get it. Okay? Now let's look at the timeline. In 1993, okay, people had like pagers. Very few people had pagers, but some people did. There wasn't a lot of cell phones out there. Only like doctors and these type of people had it for the most part. Okay, and as time went on, there came out a lot of people started having cell phones, but they didn't have smartphones. After a while, you had smartphones. People started getting on the internet and so on and so forth. Right, the internet really took off. In '93, when I was on the internet and social media, on Yahoo, there wasn't that many people on Yahoo and AOL and so on and so forth. Okay, compared to the massive amount of people that are on the internet now. Technology has really taken off, right? People weren't saying nothing about, you know, there really was no TV in cars for the most part, right? There wasn't MP3 players in cars, and the advancements that we've seen recently. There wasn't electric cars. We've seen a lot of technological advancements in the last 30 years. And they suggest, when we look at how it's affecting psychology and psychological advancements in marketing, and how they're controlling people, and people look more controlled by far than they did in the 90s, it's safe to say that nobody will believe that Jesus could come back after I die, right? So let's fast forward to the year 2053, 30 years from now. 30 years from now. Okay, based on the last 30 years and the 30 years before that, how much technology will we see? How much will people be aware of the technological manipulation of people's brains and minds and thinking processes? Okay, how much will they be aware? How much will they remember? And we know that there's no point in, you know, pretending that Jesus comes back, okay, after I'm gone, because I'm the idea Christ is superimposed on. I don't literally walk on water. I've gone over this a million times, but I can't go over it enough. So if people hear my videos, there's a good chance that when they hear that part, they'll say, oh, he's not saying that he does miracles. He doesn't think he has superpowers. He's talking about being the top martial artist ever possible with a universal pinpointed logical scale and moral scale, okay? And focus moral intensity and character and moral might and so on and so forth, okay? All right. So there's nothing they can do, right? People who act like this guy right here, let's see here. Okay, he's not going to be able to say, hey, guys, it's my son, Bartholomew. No, it's my son, right? Or whatever. No, that would be my son. These guys aren't going to be able to fool anybody. People that look like this aren't going to be able to fool anybody. You go down the list, token minorities, you name it. No one's going to be able to fool anybody. They'll still have some memory of Nigerians who look more masculine and tougher than these guys, who are better warriors than these guys, and they're not going to believe that other races are capable of producing the top martial artists ever, the best warrior in single combat, what have you, okay? They're never going to believe that. So everyone 15 and over, we can easily say, will not believe that Christ has come back, and everyone born after that will quickly put together the degree of technology means that if you see someone walking on water, the government probably used technology to make it happen. Okay? Turns water into wine, technology. Someone seems to come back from the dead, okay, that's medical technology or something. They're not going to believe any weather phenomenon or anything like that, any earthquakes, they're not going to believe it. Okay? Even if they look like this, they're not going to believe it. They're like, oh, they have a bunch of technology, that was probably them, when it's time to kind of reconcile what has occurred. So this is my time. Okay? I'm the top martial artist ever possible. Why are they trying to make it so I seem gay or white and so on? So this is not going to help them. They're going to look at the white man's historical privilege, technology in the state of the world, and the absence of people who are really moral and mature and respectable. Okay? They're not going to believe that the psychological construct is all there is. Okay? It may as well be this guy arguing he's the serious guy in history if they argue that they're ideal or that Christ has come back. So why would they interfere with my time? They're not going to give me my rightful place, which I basically am sure they're not. Okay? The least they could do is compensate me and leave me alone. Okay, so I can find some attractive, suitable helper and live my life to a certain degree. Now, listen very carefully. I do not believe they're going to do that. That's not why I keep saying this. Okay? I say this because I want you all to know that there's a reason why I will never take part in white culture, Jewish, or LGBT. There's a lot of reasons. And one of them that's very damning and by itself would damn them, you know, and make it so that no decent person would be part of their culture, is because the dominant spirits in their cultures, listen carefully, the dominant spirit in their cultures is a spirit that's so dumb that when the righteous person, the most righteous person that ever lives, come back, okay, who's born, and he's 41 years old, it's me, they're not even smart enough when they put their heads together, those who dominate their cultures and their spirits and their movements and their directions and their sexual culture and on and on and on, their social life, political life, economic life, when they put their heads together with Ivy League school people, they're not even smart enough to leave me alone, okay? Think about that for a second. No one will ever believe that they're ideal or that Christ has come back through them or anything like that. But they're still not smart enough to leave me alone. Okay? When I'm already 41 years old. That is fucking stupid. That is petty. That is immature. That is undisciplined. That is unprincipled. That is childish to the extreme. That's pure evil. That's pedo-sadistic kind of inspired stupidity. And on and on and on, right? That is far too pathetic for me, even as a child, to have agreed to go along with. And for those of you who are still confused about that, well, let's look over here. This is me as a child at about 3 years old or so, 3, 4, or something like that. Notice I have my back to the camera because I already disagreed with their cultures back then. Okay? They can't even make the call that they should leave me alone and compensate me when I'm the most righteous person that ever lived. And the timeline makes it crystal clear that no one will believe them. That is pitiful, ladies and gentlemen. That is unforgivably pathetic, and anybody who lets them lead them will be punished to the extreme. That is part of the point of this video, for you to understand that, and for God to be my witness that I tried while my videos are suppressed, while I'm scrambling every day, handing out, I was handing out flyers and bumper stickers and posters, all kinds of stuff. Okay, thousands of videos, like 10 channels by now or so. Okay, I did everything in my power, and I don't owe these people anything at all. Okay, they don't deserve even the effort that I gave. So no, the spirits that you allow to lead you have damned you and your offspring to hell with no way back. Proverbs 1, okay, to understand the sayings and parables and riddles of the wise. Not the cowards who interpret the Bible, but those who are smart enough to obey God in reality. Only me. Thank you.